All right, well, today we get into interior and exterior angles of polygons. And, um, the interior angles are angles that you see inside the shape. So these dotted lines that show you these angles here, okay, and since it's a five-sided shape, it'll have five of these angles. We call these exterior angles because they're on the outside. So that can help you remember the word exterior, outside. All right, so if we have our lab sheet here, and we are going to begin trying to learn about some of these figures, the first shape we come to is these are all regular polygons. So that means all the sides are the same and all the angles are the same. So here we have an isosceles triangle. And the one thing you know about an isosceles triangle, it's a 60, 60, 60, right, in terms of its angles. All right. So if this angle here is 60, this angle here, which is the exterior, so if your interior angle is 60, your exterior angle has to be a certain measurement, right? Because these two angles form a straight line, which we know is 180 degrees. So if we take 180 degrees and subtract 60 from it, we should come up with 120. So this angle here is 120 degrees. All right, and since we have angles here, these should all be the same because they're both all 60. So these are all 120. So the measure of a three-sided figure, single, is 120. So the sum of the angles, okay, there's three of them, is 360. Now let's go to the square. Well, we know the square, again, has four sides. They're all the same, but they're all 90-degree angles, right? So 90-degree angles are everywhere. So that means outside, the exterior, because again, this angle here is 90, which means this angle here has to get up to 180, which means this has to be 90, because 90 and 90 is 180 degrees. Okay? And if that's the case, that means this angle is 90. So it's got four angles at 90 degrees. So at 90 degrees times 4, the sum of the exterior angles is 360 again. All right? Well, now we go to the Pentagon, and we know that the five-sided shape, the sum of the angles is 540. So if there are five sides, okay, that means each side has to be 108 degrees. Right? Because 540 divided by 5 is 108. I'll even show you the math here real quick. Right? There's one. I know I'm old school long division, but that's just the way I was taught. So there we go. So each angle is 108. So if this angle is 108, if you take 180 minus 108, right, you get 72 degrees. So this exterior angle is 72, which means all of them are. So 72 times 5 is 360 degrees. So the single measure is 72 degrees, and there's 5 of them, times 5 is 360. Last but not least, we have our hexagon. Okay, our hexagon has 6 sides. And the total sides, if you remember from a hexagon, remember, 5-sided figure was 540. The 4-sided figure was 360. And we did this in the investigation 2.2 notes. So our 5-sided figure, I'm sorry, our 6-sided figure, the sum of the angles, okay, is 1,080, right? Let me get my calculator here. So my sum of the angles inside is 1,080. Okay, so that means if I divide 1,080 by 6, each angle inside this thing has to be 180 degrees. Okay. Nope, that's not right. Hang on for 1 second here. Let's erase this. Yeah, let's try that again. Help if I was referring to the right shape. So the hexagon has to have a total of 720 degrees. And if I took 720 and divided by 6, each of these guys is 120. That's more like it. Not bad. See, even teachers make mistakes. We got to check ourselves sometimes. So again, so this angle, interior, is 120, and these two guys have to add it to 180. That means this guy's got to be 60 degrees. So this angle is 60 degrees, and there's 6 sides. 60 times 6 is 360. So the sum of the exterior angles in a convex polygon or regular polygon is always 360 degrees. Okay? And it says if you know the exterior or interior angle, how can you find the measure of the other? Well, again, you basically use the angle given, or the angle you found. We'll say use the angle you have and subtract it from 180 degrees to find the measure of the other. So if we have the interior angle and it's 120, we subtract that from 180 to find the exterior is 60, and so on. Let's move on to the back page. All right, so on the back page, we have a triangle here. All right, so we already have two sides, two angles inside the triangle, 90 and 65. And we know that the sum of their angles has to be 180 inside, right? So 90 and 65 is 155. So if I take 180 and subtract 55 from it, that's 25. That means this angle right there is 25 degrees. So now that I know that, I can find the measures of all three exterior angles. Because this angle here has to be 90. This angle here, if this is 65, all right, this has to be 115. Because 115 and 65 gives me 180. And if this angle is 25, that means this angle here is 155. Okay? So if my three angles are 90, 115, and 155, the sum of the exteriors goes up to 360 again. All right? Now let me scroll down here because there's a trapezoid. So if I do that one next, again, the sum of a four-sided figure has to be 360 degrees. So I got a 90, I got a 90, I'm missing a side, and then I have an exterior. So this angle right there, the exterior is 135, which means the measure of the interior, this has to be 45. Because again, they total to 180. Right? So that's 45. And I know it's 360. Well, 90 and 90 is 180. And 180 and 45 is 225. So if I take 225 and subtract it from 360, this angle right here is 135 degrees. Well, now that I have my other interiors, I can find the exteriors. Right, here's the angle, 90. This one here is 90. This angle there is 90. That one here has to be 90. Okay? And over here, so now I have an exterior of 135. I have a 90. I have a 90, and I got to find one more. Because this is the interior right here at 135, which means this guy has to be 45. So if I go back up here, my four-sided figure is 90, 90, 45, and 135. If I add all those together, I get 360 degrees. So I'm still rolling, right? So far, even the irregular shapes polygons are adding up to 360. So that's working out pretty well right now for us. Let's see if this pattern continues. Let's go to the five-sided figure. All right. Now, again, we already talked about the five-sided figure. What has to happen with a five-sided figure? 540 degrees, right? Inside. 540. Okay. So, if I have 80 plus 110 plus 115 plus 75, that's 380. And if I take 380 and subtract it from 540, that means this angle right here is 160 degrees. Okay? Because all these angles right here give you 540. So now I can easily find the exterior ones, right? If this is 75, that means that has to be 105. If this is 115, this has to be 65 degrees. If this is 110, this angle here has to be 70. If that's 80, this angle here has to be 100. And if this one is 160, well, this little angle then is 20, the question mark. So let's go ahead and add up all of our exterior angles, which is 20, 65, 70, 100, and 105. And we should get, let's see here, 360 degrees. So it says here, does the rule change for irregular polygons? No. No, everything still adds up to 360 degrees. So our rule stayed the same, right? And then the bottom, so each exterior angle, which for example, let me do this in red here. So this is my exterior angle, right? My 90 degrees. Okay? And it's adjacent angle. Remember the word adjacent means next. So here's its adjacent angle at 90. Are what? Well, again, when two angles that are combined to give you 180 degrees, remember those are called supplementary angles. Okay, because again, they add up to 180. Complementary add up to 90. So very, very, very important. So I hope you found this little video helpful. We're going to stop it right now.